Alright, three-phase circuit. Circuit function. Circuit function depends for the page of the vary value of the variable h have with the U of the theory series theory textbook. The values of h have the equivalent respond with a different domain with all of the h functions are ratio of circuits input and then circuit output. The section of the three-phase of the impulse response. Impulse respond with the time the main relation between the circuit input with the circuit output is denoted the following is ht. The input respond with a strict speaking the output with the circuit will do with the energy ideal impulse function. Impulse of the response can be used to determine the output with the input through the convolution operation. Network function. The network function phase domain representing impulse respond with the network and phase. Network function related to the input-output circuit through the following relation. Sum of the network with the receiver dividing output by input through the phase domainer. Transfer function. Transfer function Laplace transfer represented impulse respond with the denoted following notation. And transfer function denoted one or two method transfer impulse response transfer circuit or solve the transfer functions related to the input and output as follows. Frequency response is the fourth Dominian representation impulse respond with the denoted circuit as H junction width. Frequency response obtained in all three ways transform impulse circuit and solve and substituting S and J equals J W and transfer function frequency response relation circuit and input and output frequency response, particularly discussing sequential input construction and Bode diagram. Phase arithmetic, the phase of the review phase and phase arithmetic topics, phase of the two components of magnitude and phase angle, phases related to sinusoidal other cosine. C is equal to magnitude of the less than phase angle, magnitude cosine times wavelength plus the wave angle. Remember the three forms of wave: phasor form, rectangular form, exponential form. Converting between forms, working with with phasors that only necessarily convert between rectangular and polar form. They convert rectangular form to polar form. For the polar rectangular form is part of the phasors along with the real axis, and B is part of the phasors along with the imaginary axis. Addition two phasors together will convert with the rectangular form, well-known completed algebra. Complex arithmetic, subtraction, simpler addition, expect now subtraction, multiplication. Two phasors should be first convert with the polar with the same thing, similar with the polar form, similar with the projected magnitude of the phases, sum of the phases. Keep in mind polar phasor, the exponential quantity of the magnitude augmentation phase angle multiply the two exponential forces, multiply the magnitude, add exponents, division, similar multiplication, except that now divide magnitude, subtract phases. Inversion, relationship between the understanding and inversion properties of phasors, and or normally Cartesian plane for instance of the negative x or 180 degrees positive axis. Using the fact of the imaginary axis, we can see the negative real axis of the exact opposite direction, positive real axis, therefore 180 degrees apart. Complex conjugation, similar to the inversion, complete with a complex conjugation favor the complex conjugation, the asterisk above the phase for the conjugated, the sum of the favor to be graph of real imagery, imaginary plane, 90 degree phase for purely imaginary number to 90 degrees, negative 90 degree phasors, complex conjugated, essentially hold true with the phase of the angle, same over the angle of the reverse produce, the complex conjugated with the phase of the polar notation, general polar notation, rectangular form, complex conjugation. Notice the only difference complex conjugation, C is the sign of change of the imaginary part. Decibels. The appendix page is going to be the deeper look at the unit in decibels. Discover the property of decibels will be demonstrated how these calculations, and then that's the rest of it. So I'm sorry I shorted a little bit on each of the tapes. Some of the math is and requires learning. This was Wikibooks Circuit Theories, all chapters.